Hi, that Paul guy. All right, so a couple of people have asked, well, more than a couple of people, and usually it's the discussion keeps coming up about what's going on with the spider bite, what happened, what this, what that, and I've mentioned it in a couple of videos that it is something that's kept me from putting out 2 videos a week, and something that's some cases has made me miss putting out a video at all, and some other various things in between. So I'm going to start back from the beginning. So bear with me. If you're interested in knowing what's going on here, please, I'll explain the whole thing to you. Otherwise, maybe you can just minimize this and listen to it in the background or something. But I'm not going to show any pictures of the actual bite. They're too graphic. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to upset whatever audience might be deciding to watch this. If you are a close personal friend, I may have already shown you pictures, or I'm willing to show you pictures. I'm not going to post those on YouTube. I don't think that's proper. I don't think that's right, and it's not in good taste. So, but because they are pretty graphic. Back in November, middle of November or so, what I thought happened is I got a bad case of the flu. What I did notice after about a day and a half or 2 days was a bite or something, a sore on my leg that started out rather small. And it was dark. It turned black. It started out red, then turned black, and then got really hard, really hot to the touch. That started growing. It started increasing in size, very hot to the touch. Try to put an ice pack on it, try to take some ibuprofen. At that time, I thought maybe I'd gotten bit by something or stung by something, and I was going to ride it out. Within a day and a half or so, that became quite a bit larger, and I reached out for medical help. My sister's a nurse practitioner. She was the first person I called. We immediately got me on some antibiotics and some treatment and stuff like that to try to make sure that we were containing and taking care of the sore and the bite, and started heading things off. Was feeling much better. However, the sore was, there was a lot of necrotic material that, it was a pretty bad bite, and we then realized that it was probably from a brown recluse. It was not any kind of flu. It was not any kind of scorpion or any kind of black widow or anything like that. That was far too bad, and it was far too fast of an infection, or not necessarily an infection, but of a reaction to have been pretty much anything else. So that we stabilized that, and for a couple weeks things were fine. We got through the end of the year, and we noticed that it wasn't quite healing right. So I started going to a wound specialist. They took a look at it, asked what was going on, the type of thing, explained everything all over again, ran a couple tests, went ahead and cleaned everything back out again. We were doing some ointments to help debride it, or to actually get out all the rest of the material that might be left in there so it would start healing. Because the answer there, or the thought process there, is to make it something that is a critical injury instead of a chronic injury. Critical means that the body thinks, oh, I have to heal this right now. This is important. This needs attention right now. Where chronic is, oh, I can put that on the back burner. I'm not worried about it. It's just there. It's one of those things that's going to bother you until it doesn't bother you anymore. So we wanted to make sure that stayed a critical type wound. That was in Ocala, where my sister lives, about 2 hours away. To come a little bit closer, I went ahead and started seeing the wound care center that was here near where I live. I live in Palm Harbor. I went to the one in just across over, not too far away here in Pinellas County, and they started treating me. Again, I had to explain everything all over again, what had happened, what we had done so far. They were a little bit concerned because it hadn't been healing like they thought it should, which is the whole reason I was going to the wound care center in the first place. Let me let you know that everybody that has been involved with medical so far to this point had been awesome. They've been incredible, and I dearly, dearly appreciate all of the help and all of everything from everybody. My sister, of course, started out when I went to go see Dr. Casebolt there in Ocala. Wonderful, and I truly appreciate that. Started seeing Dr. Sammy here, and I truly appreciate that as well. After we started getting here and started a little bit the next phase of the treatment, basically, it started healing some, so we tried a little bit different type of bandaging. Within a few days, well, it had been like a week or two, but then within a few days' time, we had taken some cultures and they had come back, and when we went to go check the bandage, an infection had started to spread. And it was just that fast, folks. As soon as I got seen, and as soon as they saw it and taking the positive results from the lab test and actual seeing how quickly it was starting to spread, I went to the hospital. This was a couple of weeks ago. There was no second guessing, no nothing. Me being a guy, I'm like, oh, how serious can it be? And they really had to tell me, hey, look, this is serious. You got to go. So in the hospital I went. They started pumping me full of IV antibiotics. They started, trying to stabilize things, and that's when I started to really realize that yes, this is something pretty serious. Not the wound itself. The wound itself had gotten where there was no real pain or anything like that, but with the infection, and we'd try to be so careful to make sure that because it was an open wound, we weren't doing anything careless to let dirt or anything else get in that might cause something like that. It's just one of those things. It just happened. So here I am in the hospital. I'm laid up for a couple of days in the hospital. They're going to kick me out, and I'm thinking, okay, cool. At least I get the IVs taken out and all that stuff. Not so fast, my friend. The next entire week consisted of having what they call a midline, which is an IV that goes into your arm here, and it's a tube about that long that goes into your vein. There are longer ones called a PICC line. This one was called a midline, and it was for use basically in a situation where I was at home, where I was able to change my own IVs. Somebody came out to the house, showed me how to do that, taught me and trained me on how to take care of all that stuff. And for the next week solid, twice a day, I was letting a bag of 2 different antibiotics for about 4 hours of treatment, sometimes a little longer, drip into my arm. I did not feel like doing much of anything. I gained like 8 pounds during that period, and I'm already a chubby guy, so that didn't help. After that happened about a week and a half ago. About a week and a half. Friday last week or Friday the week before, or whatever. Finally finished that up. So this past week, things have been getting back on track and back to normal. I'm now starting to feel much better. I'm starting to have more energy, but I did learn that directly after I started feeling a little bit better, I had really one bad setback day that made me feel really bad. So I'm kind of pacing myself and getting back into it and trying to get things rolling again at a good pace. Today is one of those great days where I really feel a lot better than I have in weeks. There's no real pain in my leg. It feels a little bit itchy. I think that's because it's trying to heal. And I've got another doctor's appointment in the morning, and I've got some further down. But in the meantime, it is what it is. So it's under control. The wound itself is about 4 inches in diameter. It is even with the skin now, so skin should start growing, but they are talking about maybe doing a skin graft. There's 2 different procedures they could use. I hope they do the easier one because that's more like a sunburn, and they will use some of those skin cells that blister up as the skin graft. So I'm hoping that's the way they go. That's a lot less irritating, and I've already been through a whole lot. So I'm not complaining because it can be a lot worse, but man, this has been a pain in the tail that I didn't expect. Anyway, I just, all the folks that were at the hospital and all the folks that were at wound care and all the folks that have taken care of things all the way through this have been amazing, and I dearly appreciate it. But I also appreciate all the people that have been supportive and friends that have reached out and people that have just asked how I was and just wanted to kind of make sure that I was okay. So I am okay. I'm much better. I'm back to pretty active now. I feel well enough where I think I should be able to get back into doing at least 2 videos a week. We'll see how that goes. I don't see myself missing another It's Thursday again, so we should be there. And now I'm actually trying to organize some stuff because I had been talking about doing a small form factor build and got the small case from Cooler Master, but the video card didn't fit. That was one of those I mentioned something about in a fail video where, trying to bring you guys good content. I'm trying to figure out whether I should do that and just order a shorter video card, or I also ordered another case. It's a small form factor case. I believe it was Dark Flash is the company. It's very similar to NZXT's H201 in size, but it comes, there's some different features, doesn't come with fans, stuff like that, but it does have a tempered glass side panel, and I'm very scared about trying to transport that if I just throw it in my car to take it to my sister's house, or if I go to Miami for a weekend or Daytona or whatever I do. I can't really take that as easily as I could the small Cooler Master. So I have to figure out which one I'm going to do there. And then from there, a couple other dominoes will fall into place. But we'll get that going soon. Anyway, other than that, things are working out okay. So like I said, I do appreciate all the thoughts and gestures and people reaching out and all that stuff and all the concern. And you really, in a time like this, you find out who those people are that really support you and love you. And you find out some of those folks that aren't ready to do that yet. So for all those folks that were just amazing to me, I dearly remember that and appreciate that. And for those of you folks that might not have been, don't worry, I'll remember that too. So, but anyway, that's all I got for right now, folks. As always, I mean, you're welcome to share, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down, leave me kind of comments. I've gotten a ton of people just, like I said, reaching out by text and messages and stuff like that, and I really appreciate that. So feel free to do that on here if you want as well. That's all I got for right now. There are some stuff coming later this week. There are some things coming later this week. Some interesting things, in fact. So until then, I'll see you later.